What have the Dolphins done in the past year in the offseason to take the organization to the next level? You can see where they're building up on defense, but they made some free agency moves. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they hired some really good coaches, and I think they acquired some really good talent. And you can see, certainly they add a lot of speed to their roster. It always helps, certainly when Tua's playing the way he is. He's had a heck of a year so far, and I got a lot of respect for what they've been able to accomplish in a short amount of time.
When you look at their film and put together your game plan, they've given up a lot of points in a road and hardly any at home. I guess how do you juggle that?
Try to come up with the best plan as possible, and it really is going to come down to our ability. Obviously, they've got a lot of great players. They've got some guys up front that can certainly wreck a game. They got guys in the back end that can cover, and they do a good job of complementing one another on the defense side of the ball. And so we're going to have a great game plan. It's going to come down, like it always does, to how well you execute.
When Tyreek left Kansas City, a lot of people scoffed at the notion he could have an even better statistical season, but he's having one right now. What have you seen from him on tape as he's transitioned from working with Patrick Mahomes to a totally new team?
See a guy that's really fast, and he's made some unbelievable plays. They do a really good job of putting him at the point of attack. Certainly, there's other weapons on the field. Jalen Waddle, he's pretty fast and pretty good too. Gesicki, I mean, they got a lot of guys. The backs are running really well. Like I said, Tua's doing a heck of a job anticipating a lot of throws and allowing his playmakers to go make plays, and that's what they do. They do a good job of getting the ball out of his hand quickly and let those guys do the rest. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, just in terms of being able to limit those explosive plays and really slow down the offense, because you can see they can score in a hurry and shoot, whether it's on a quick pass, whether it's on a play pass, whether it's on a run, whether it's on somebody fumbling the ball and, the ball squirting out of the pile and him picking it up and taking it to the house. And they can score a lot of different ways.
Matt, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about actually getting Keyshawn involved on offense?
You're just going to have to wait and see, Matt.
How serious?
Going to leave you on the edge of your seat here this week.
Okay. He's serious, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I know you were asked about it yesterday, but there's a production meeting that they talked about on Monday night with the offensive meetings, and then it became, at least among some people nationally, thinking that the quarterbacks and receivers just haven't been meeting.
Yeah,
that's not true. They've been all along, right?
Yeah, I think I probably did not articulate that story very well, because we meet every day together. All our installs are together. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday installs are all together. We always meet post-practice on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday morning. And then the only meeting we didn't do early in the year was a post-practice Wednesday meeting. That was the only one. So we added that to all the other meetings that we do meet together. So it was one probably 40-minute meeting. But like I said, the main point is the more time you are with somebody or you spend together, the more you kind of get to know them. And I think that just helped us kind of expedite just everybody, learning one another. But it's kind of gotten, I think, a little bit overblown.
Receivers and quarterbacks had been meeting, right, the whole time, right? Those guys. I think Aaron said one day you even moved it up a day earlier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right. They've been meeting
Yeah.
all the time.
So.
Was that just a time scheduling conflict? Why that?
No, I think what had happened was in year one every meeting was together, and then we have had a lot of experience, and we kind of and I trust our other coaches to articulate. We're all, as a coaching staff, we're all on the same page. So allow them to go into the room to really dig at the details, because whether it's me or whoever up there in front of the room talking, you just want to make sure all the details are getting addressed, that every little thing within the position group, and obviously the more people you have in there, the more big picture I would say it gets. And not to say that you don't harp on some of the mistakes or some of the little details or highlight the things that guys are doing well. It's just, I think it's a little bit easier to communicate when it's just one position in there together to get all the little details down. But we felt like just making sure that everybody hears it from Aaron's voice, because I don't care whether it's here or another building. It's important for whether it's the receivers, the tight ends, whoever, to hear how the quarterback sees it. He's got the ball in his hand on every play. And I remember Mike Vrabel, when I was in Tennessee, used to tell me all the time. He's like, Matt, they're not going to listen to you. They're going to listen to the quarterback. So that's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's super fun when the internet gets a hold of something and accurately depicts it.
That tends to happen a lot, I think.
Really, that's awesome.
Only with certain people.
Who's that? Who are we talking about?
Nope, I'm not
Don't
allowed
say it.
to comment on other media by ESPN policy.
Okay.
I would love to.
You might be an NFC North fan.
You're a little riled up today, Rob. I don't think I've ever seen you like this. I like it. Feisty.
I did have a question. That's okay. When I know it's player by player, but as a coach, what are usually your expectations for your rookie class? I mean, Ted used to talk about it, and I think Brian has as well, that we're going to be kind of defined by our veteran players, and we'll hope for rookie contributions. Where are you kind of at when you expect something from a group like that?
Well, I try to go into it with a pretty much open mind and just kind of let it play out. But certainly there's some rookies that you expect immediate impact from. And it just is, I would say it's circumstantial, just in terms of what you think you're going to get out of somebody. But it's our job as coaches to push them to be their best, and try to acclimate them as quickly as possible to help, to allow them to contribute to the success of our team. So, I think every position, I'd say the learning curve could be a little bit different for every position. I think we've seen it over the history of ball. There are some positions that it takes a little bit longer. If you're looking at the wide receivers, that's usually one of them. Defensive line, the pass rushers is usually one. Quarterbacks obviously can be one. But I think everything's a little bit different. I think it's easier for certain other positions, whether it's a running back, maybe a corner, DB, whatever it may be, to get in there and contribute at a high level earlier.
So what did you think? I know it's only one game, but where do you kind of look at your rookie class? You had Christian and Romeo with big contributions. Zach started at left tackle. Quay had a big game. Devontae had a half a sack. Are you starting to see that group really start to take off and contribute from your perspective?
Yeah, I think all those guys are doing a great job. And, like I said, it's our job to try to put them in a position and continue to push them. But you're talking about a bunch of guys that love ball. And that makes it a lot easier because, they're investing the time and the energy that it takes to be the best they can be. And, we're at a part of the season now where you always tell them, and I know it's cliche, but you're no longer a rookie. I mean, you gotta kind of, it's more of a mentality in that regard.
On defense, this might be obvious, Matt, but how much has Quay been able to improve on his instincts or reaction with Devontae back in on the defense?
Well, I think that helps a little bit, just the continuity, the communication between those two guys. But, he had a little bit more put on his plate, I would say, when Dre was out in terms of communicating all the calls. I think, when he's next to a guy like KB who's also played a lot of football, that makes it a little bit easier. But there's been times when he's the only linebacker in the game. So, I think he's gotten better each and every week, just more familiar and seeing kind of the same whether it's concepts, run game, pass game, and being able to adapt and adjust and react a little bit quicker.
Matt, do you think, or how would you describe Mike McDaniel's personality? And do you think coaches, or do you think teams take on the personality of their coach sometimes?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, you guys have watched Mike's press conferences, right? So he's a pretty entertaining guy. He's very quick-witted, and but he's a really good person that cares a lot. Cares a lot about people, cares a lot about the game and the job, and he does a great job. He's super thorough, very intelligent, and you know, I've got as much respect for him as anybody, just in terms of how he handles his business and the position and his football mind. He's a super creative guy. I think you can see that in terms of some of the stuff they put on tape this year, and obviously he goes to great lengths to try to help his players as much as possible. I know we all heard that story about that tape he put together for Tua. I think that's pretty remarkable, and I think that's, you know, he's doing whatever it takes to help guys be their best.
Two more, please.
How do you approach Christmas? I mean, you're playing on it this year.
Is it Christmas?
Year in and year out, it's a part of a late season push for your team, no matter what position you're in. What do you do with a young family like you have, and what do you recommend for your players to do to get that done? Do you save it for the
Find a
offseason?
wife, and hopefully she's on top of it. I don't know what to tell you there. I mean, like, it's obviously there's a lot of distractions this time of the year in terms of it, but it's how you manage that. And I know for myself, it's nice that I've got a lot of people around me to help me through that, and so I can focus at the task at hand. And it's a tall task. It's a really good football team that we're going against. Obviously, they're very hungry. They've got a lot at stake. We've got a lot at stake, and it should be a playoff type game. And you know, going down to their house, and like Bill mentioned, you know, their ability to have a lot of success in their own stadium. So we're going to have to be at our best, and our guys are going to have to be very disciplined throughout the course of the week in our preparation and everything that's going on. But I think I love this time of the year, though, because it always, you know, you get to show appreciation for others, and you know, that sense of family and all that comes along with this holiday season.
Does their run game with Mostert look any different than what you saw from him in San Francisco a couple of years ago?
It's very, very similar. So again, it's going to be, because it's extremely challenging when they have a really good run game. Just some of the nuances that they can do in terms of, you know, he's super creative in terms of how he wants to personnel you, formation you, motion you, always trying to find great angles. Oh, and by the way, you got to defend the speed on the perimeter, and the quarterback's playing at a high level. So, you know, it's a great challenge for us. I think their offensive line is something that probably doesn't get talked about enough. I think you look at the job they did last week in Buffalo, and we all know what kind of defensive line the Bills have, and they did an outstanding job. So I think they're a very well-rounded football team.